we've been treating people with immune deficiency, i.e. cancer, HIV, all these things, because that's really what it is. Cancer is not the problem. Cancer is a symptom of, you cannot have cancer if your immune system's intact. The only way you can get cancer is if your immune system's been damaged. And as of December, we had 14 patients, 14 patients with stage 4 cancer, terminal, 6 months left to live, 3 months, whatever, is metastatic disease, 14 cancer patients that are now 15 years out since we treated them. One of them is over 20 years out. Now, when they say cancer, remember, once you stage 4, it's terminal and there's nothing left and they refer to hospice. When you start looking at things like that, or autism is incurable. There's no such thing as autism. Autism is toxicity. Autism is, simply stated, and again, I know we're not here to talk about cancer or autism, but I just want to give you the background of how this misinformation that's been going on for decades. Autism is nothing more than mercury toxicity on board of physiology with a genetic predisposition for the inability to excrete mercury. And people say, well, it's not just mercury, it's mercury. I have treated 3,800 kids, and our protocol has been used in some fashion or form or some level of it by over 1,800 doctors. Almost 40,000 kids worldwide have been treated with some partial form of our treatment. And I can tell you that it's only mercury. Mercury causes denudation of the neurofibrils. Nothing else causes that. Mercury is the second most toxic substance known to man. And tell me this, if it's the second most toxic substance known to man, why do we have it in our teeth and our amalgams, outgassing at 5 to 9 nanograms per deciliter per tooth per day? Why are we using it in our vaccines? Like Congressman Dan Burton, when he talked about that, he said, well, it's not in there, and then people were testing it. I didn't finish explaining that. Congressman Dan Burton asked for investigation into this, and there were 3 different lots of vaccines labeled, I don't remember which vaccines they were, but they were labeled thimerosal free. But when they tested them, they had thimerosal in there. So there was a congressional hearing where they had the head of the FDA and the head of the FTC. And Congressman Dan Burton asked the head of the FTC, what is, and I'll explain this. This says thimerosal free, yet we've tested it, has thimerosal on it. Explain yourself. And the head of the FTC said, I have to defer to the FDA. So that's a truth in marketing, truth in advertising issue. He defers to the FDA. The head of the FDA at that time, and this is the most appalling thing to me, the head of the FDA says, well, we are telling the truth. There is no thimerosal in there that was added in there. And Congressman Dan Burton's like, here's the report. So explain to me, if you're saying that there's nothing added in there, get this explanation. The FDA said, when we have a vial, and we put thimerosal in that vial, and we put the vaccine in the vial, we do all this other stuff, then we have to label it as thimerosal. But now we don't do that anymore. We don't add thimerosal to that vial. We now use it during the manufacturing process. So when we add it to the bottle, it's just the end product. We haven't added any thimerosal to it. So therefore we don't have to disclose that it has thimerosal in it. It's used in the manufacturing process, not added as another ingredient. And Congressman Dan Burton asked for criminal sanctions to be brought against the head of the FDA and the head of the FTC. This is a matter of congressional record. And do you know how much the media covered it? 0. Nobody talked about it. They totally whitewashed it and blanketed it like nothing ever happened. And then you've got the people, the corrupt people like Anderson Cooper that bring Congressman Dan Burton on and then try to, like this a couple of years ago, and try to attack him this way. And you could tell Congressman Dan Burton held his own, but he's not a scientist and it was hard for him. So I've put the challenge out. Why don't you have a real doctor or scientist come up in there and talk? I was supposed to be on NBC Good Morning America, myself and Boyd Haley on NBC's, I think it was NBC's show, Good Morning America, about the vaccine aspect. And after a whole bunch of stuff, within 2 days of being broadcast, a 5-part series, it went dead. They didn't want myself or Boyd coming. And I talked to one of the producers afterwards, and he said, I can't explain to you, Dr. Buttar, what happened, but we're not going to have you on the show. And I was like, that's fine if that's what you guys decided. I happened to talk to Boyd Haley, who used to be the head of the Department of Chemistry at the University of Kentucky. And Boyd said, well, of course they're not going to have you on there. The reason they don't have you and me is because of their advertising dollars. And I didn't understand what he meant. Apparently, 6 different pharmaceutical companies that had over a $500,000 daily budget. This is what I was told now, whether that number is accurate or not, but a $500,000 daily budget on advertising throughout the Good Morning show. They were basically told that if I was on the show and if Boyd Haley was on the show, they were going to pull their advertising budget for the next 6 months. So why would they do that? They're censoring. That's another form of censorship.